Good morning, everyone. This is the Andy and Kyle podcast show.
Where we like to tell our embarrassing stories, and then we like to read stories off of Reddit as well.
All right, Kyle, start off with our first story.
All right, so I got a good story. Basically, I'm going to title it as The Time I Drooled my friend's face.
We want to know.
Yeah.
Us.
So I'm over in high school, it's off season. And for people that aren't familiar with off season, it's just whenever you're like no sports are going on or whatever, and everybody's just kind of like working out in their gym period. And so we were inside the gym. The weights were set up kind of in a like rectangle, and everybody would pair up with two people. Like you have your buddy, because that way you can have a spotter, and they kind of just rotate around the different equipment. But I was with my friend. His name is Dean, and basically like we made our way around. We made it to like the bench press. And so he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get down." And because he has a spotter, he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna max out. I'm gonna do all the weight I can, So I'm like, "All right, I got you, And he laid down. We stacked the weights on. He got it off the rack and did like the first rep or whatever. And he's like, "Okay, yeah." He's like feeling confident and stuff. And then he got the second one out, and then the third one he started kind of struggling on, And so I'm looking down at him, and
you look down at him.
Yeah, I'm looking down at him because I'm spotting him. Okay, come on. Yeah, I'm spotting him. And what was it? I'm, shouting words of encouragement. I'm like, "Come on, like you got this,
Don't be a wimp."
Because we're men, we're not wimps, And so I'm looking down at him as soon as I shouted, "You got this," like a little piece of drool just kind of like came out of my mouth and like went right on his face, and like I couldn't suck it up in time. And so like as soon as it landed on his face, I started laughing, and then I stopped spotting him because I'm laughing too hard.
Poor Dean.
And he's like, dude, did you drool in my face? And I'm like, I'm still laughing, And so, but what I completely forgot is that he was still in the middle of his rep.
He's still fighting for his life.
He's still fighting, and he's
he's
like straining, like trying to like get the weight up. And as he's straining, he's like the drool is like sitting there on his face. It kind of like pulled up on his cheek.
Ah, gross.
And so he's like trying to like get it away from it like going down towards his mouth.
Yes,
because
I would too.
Yeah, and so he's like looking away. He's like looking to like I think it was on his the right side of his face. So he's like looking to the right, trying to get it to drool like to trail down the other way. Yeah, and basically like I finally collect myself.
Oh, were you just laughing in the background?
I was laughing the entire time.
You were just laughing in the background while he's like, "No, no," fighting for his life over here.
Yeah, the entire time. It was so funny. And
what were the people around you? Were they just watching or what?
I think everybody was just kind of in their own little world. Like nobody even paid attention to us.
Didn't even.
Yeah.
Were you guys like being loud or anything?
Yeah, we were being really loud. And he was yelling at me. He's like,
"No,
like drooled on my face." Like,
all right. So what happened? You finally become the hero and save him?
Yeah. I finally like take the rack and I lift it up, and I'm still laughing at him and stuff. And he was like pretty upset with me. So he tries to like wipe his face like on me, and I just kind of let him because I felt bad.
You're like, "I'll take it. I get it."
Yeah, but it was so funny, and he's just the kind of person that he likes to be perfect all the time, or he likes to try to be perfect.
Yeah.
And so whenever that happened, whenever anything bad happens to him, it's just so funny.
Do you like tag him on? Do you still bug him?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like,
do you still bug him about the story every now and then?
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I don't remember that," and I'm like, "No, he does."
I've met him once, maybe, and it was like for like a short little like meetup with him.
Yeah,
I know he's gonna be at your wedding, so when I see him the next time, I'm like, "Oh, you're the guy who got drool on his face."
Just like spit on his face and be like, "Hey, you remember that?"
Oh man, that just sounds funny. That's pretty embarrassing, but like that's nobody's fault. Actually, it's your fault.
Yeah, it was my. I mean,
it was an accident. It's your fault for not helping him immediately.
Well, I think the thing that's funny is that it's not the first time I've drooled. Like I don't know what it is.
Have you drooled on other people's faces?
I've drooled on other people. Like no, that was the first time I drooled on somebody's face.
Did it get into his mouth?
No, it got into his beard.
Oh,
I mean, but I feel like that's almost worse.
If it wasn't for the beard, it would have got him.
Yeah. I mean, but you can't wipe it off. You just have to
go
go
his
like
hands
go.
are not like there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't wipe it out like out of your beard, because it gets stuck in there.
Oh,
and you have to go rinse your face off.
he probably smelled Kyle's drool for the rest of the day.
It smells great. Okay, I always have great breath.
All right, so let me get to my story. My story is not high school related. It's another El Paso story. It's definitely one that I find hilarious. I call it Georgie's Andy Eric with the firework. Okay, so that should tell you a lot about it. Picture this: it's 2 in the morning. A bunch of teenagers, maybe like around 15, 12, and like maybe 11 or 10. And so we're bored. We're rummaging around the garage trying to find something to do. Maybe like find paintball guns, airsoft guns, whatever. We're really bored. We stay up late when we're in El Paso. And we come into this box and we find a firework. And it's one of those fireworks that are supposed to go super high and blow up in the air, like really high. Except we don't have the tube for it. And most of those fireworks that go up in the air have a stick on it.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have a stick
Yeah.
on
Okay.
it. It was just the head of the firework. And the head of the firework, it was like a big one. It was like one that's about 2 inches in diameter. That's like the size of a fist. Like imagine that. Make your hand into a fist. That's how big the firework was.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So we're like, we need to find a tube to launch this up in the air. Like, oh, and also this is no special occasion. It's not New Year's. It's not 4th of July. It's just a random Tuesday at 2 in the morning. It's summer, so we're not in school. But we find this firework and we're like coming up with like this game plan. We're like, oh yeah, we can engineer the shit out of this firework. We're gonna send it up into space. Like it's like the heavens are ours, basically. That's what thought process. I think George's was 15. I was like 12, and Eric was like 9.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So we're like, we have a dream, we have a plan. We're gonna make this happen. Everyone in our family's awake. My grandpa, my mom, we're all up. We're all like night birds when we go to El Paso.
Yeah.
So we go to my grandpa, going like, "Hey, do you by chance have a tube anywhere? Like maybe lying around in the garage or like a hidden closet, like that you save for like 4th of July?" He goes like, "No, but give me a second." He comes back with a 2-liter Pepsi bottle, cuts it up, rolls it up tight, and hands it to us. Tapes it and hands it to us.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he goes, "Here's a tube." And I'm like, "Cool." We're like, "Oh yeah, now we got a tube, we got a firework, we got a lighter. We just need the stick for the firework." And so, like any rational person, you would get a sturdy stick.
Yeah.
Like a stick from a tree.
Yeah.
A straw, at least.
A straw is not gonna work.
It's better than what we got. A stick, a straw, like a toothpick. That tie toothpicks together. That would have been better than what we did. But with our engineering minds of a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and like a 9 or 10-year-old, we're like, nah, NASA would use those things. We're not going to use those things. What we find, we use what we find. We MacGyver this stuff. We find a used glow stick, not a new glow stick. New glow sticks, they're sturdy.
Yeah.
When you crack them, they get loose. We had a used glow stick that was in like a closet in the back corner that we found. It was actually lime green, by the way.
You know what's so funny is that like it would have been, it's so much harder to find that. Like you had to go through so much more work.
But we're like, yeah, now we got a rocket with fashion. It's got a glow stick on it.
A limp glow stick.
A limp glow stick. So when we're walking out, we're like, a firework should, when you move it, it should stay in motion like this, right? Like it should stay sturdy when you move it around.
Yeah.
Our firework was like,
just like
it would wobble around when you would hold it up. So we go outside with our Pepsi bottle. That's a tube now. Our firework with a glow stick as a base and our lighter. We go up to the sidewalk outside. It's like dark outside. There's like lights from like the street lights, but it's 2 in the morning. It's dark. And we go out there. We place it in the sidewalk. In El Paso, there's no grass. It's just a lot of, like for the houses. Most houses don't have grass. Most of them have rocks or like sand as in the thing. And so in this one, there was like a little, in the sidewalk, there was like a place where there was sand.
Yeah.
So we place our tube in the sand. We dig it in there.
Okay,
So it's in there. It's safe. It's secure. That was step number 1. Tube is secure. We put the firework in, and like it flops out the first time. So we like have to like shove it in with like a stick to get. We had a stick. We had a sturdy stick to shove it in.
Right. This sounds like the most redneck type of thing I've ever heard.
So we shove the firework in, and like you can see into the tube. The glow stick is all folded in on itself. So it's not even like supporting it completely. It's like folded in on itself. We finally are ready to launch. And so we light it. I'm over here at the time. This was like 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we have like a phone, but this was before iPhones. This was before like the phones that flip with the keyboard. This was like a phone that almost was a Nokia phone, but the screen like turned sideways a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it was
It was almost like a sidekick or something
yeah,
like that.
side flip.
Yeah, side flip. There we go.
Yeah.
And so, God, we feel old.
I mean,
Anyways, so I'm recording. My uncle's the one lighting it. Eric's just there watching, just like everything. He doesn't say a word. He's just watching everything happen the entire time.
Yeah.
He's like witness to our like rocket going into space. I'm the filmer.
Like he actually knows.
Yeah.
He's like, this is a bad idea.
Doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
So Eric, me and Georgie's are the engineers for this thing. I'm the documentary. I'm filming everything. Eric's just witness.
Yeah.
So we start counting off 3, 2, 1. Georgie's lights. Whoosh, wind blows it out. Dang. So we try it again. 3, 2, 1. We try lighting it again. It finally catches after like the 4th or 5th time of trying to light this thing, and it goes. Shh. So it has like a long string. So like the wait time, it felt like forever. Once we lit it, it felt like forever.
Yeah.
It was probably like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But like in the moment, we're like, because this was like an hour in the making to launch this thing.
Just this
know?
one firework.
This one firework was an hour in the making to do.
Yeah, we've already invested too much.
Yeah, we've already invested too much. We light it, and I'm here with the phone. We're all huddled around it when we're lighting it. I'm here with the phone recording everything for like historic purposes. Like, dang, we're about to get something into space. And I'm recording. George's lights it, and everyone takes off. But me. I'm just there with my phone recording this happening. No one tells me, no one grabs me. And all of a sudden I hear, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And it shoots off. And like every person who like launches anything to space, we're proud of like, yeah, we got this. It goes up about 10 feet. Doesn't even clear a tree. Doesn't even clear the roof of the house. And it starts coming back down. It hasn't blown up yet.
Yeah.
It's about 10 feet high. Starts coming back down. I'm still right at launch site where he launched it with my phone recording it, not realizing what's going to happen in like the next 5 seconds. It gets about 5 feet from my face and it just blows up.
Oh my God.
When I tell you it was 2 a.m. and it was dark outside, and in those like 10 seconds of it exploding, it looked like daylight. Like it was just so bright outside. No one got hurt. No one got burned. It did set off some car alarms because the fireworks
Yeah, I mean,
hit
it's so
cars.
like they actually hit the car.
Yeah, it hit cars. So fire alarms
God.
started going. Not fire alarms. Car alarms started going off.
Yeah.
Like in the house at 2 a.m. So imagine. So it goes up, comes down, flashbang in my face. Just like can't see anything. For like I can't see anything for like a good 15 seconds. All of a sudden I hear car alarms going all around me. I'm like, days like I'm in a war zone. Like what happened?
It's like whenever you throw those flashbangs in like Call of Duty and they bounce off the wall and back at you.
Yeah, the cops got called because there were so many car alarms going on. It was like 3 car alarms, but it's 2 a.m. If you're like the neighbor asleep, and all of a sudden you hear a and a bunch of kids going, oh shit, and then car alarm. I keep saying fire alarms. Car alarms going off. You're gonna call the cops.
Yeah, they're gonna think somebody like actually set off a bomb or whatever.
But we got in trouble. We didn't get in too much trouble with the cops. We just got in trouble with our parents.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. I can see it clearly. It going up and start coming down. In my mind, I'm like 12, so my mind's not thinking of consequences. My mind's like, why is it coming back down?
Gotta get the shot.
Yeah, gotta get that shot. I'm like, why is it coming back down? And it was just hilarious. I wish I still had the video. It would have been hilarious to see, because on the phone, because we rewatched this video like 30 times.
Yeah.
Like we saw it so many times in the phone. And this is how I know everything happened in like a span of like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Because in my mind I heard oh shit, and then like 10 minutes later it blew up. In the phone recording, you hear it, you see it go, and then all of a sudden you hear Jordy's yelling, oh shit, yeah. So like it happened in like 5 seconds, and it was so funny because the phone on the screen, it went from being like really dark and hazy and seeing like people like in the shadows to like the phone just being bright white for like a good like 5 seconds. Because it was so close. I tell you, it wasn't that much taller than us when it finally blew up.
Yeah, probably like over the ceiling of this house or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was so close to my face. It was hilarious. And it was Definitely. It was just the entire process of building this thing. We went to my grandpa. He could have stopped it right there.
No,
And
he's
he was
just like,
like, I want to see
just
this
let
through.
him.
I
Yeah.
want to see this through.
Yeah, that's kind of grandpa I want to be. I aspire to.
I feel like our execution would have been great if we would have just changed one thing about this plan.
Yeah.
If we would have just not used a glow stick as the base. I feel like everything else would have been perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we like messed up.
I mean, I feel like you messed up on a lot of more. But
This
okay.
firework was probably like 10 years old too. It was a new firework.
Man, well, I had some fireworks that were like that, and you know, like the black cats that
Yeah.
and they have really quick fuses.
Mhm.
You know, it's the little gray fuse that goes really quick. Well, it just reminded me of this. My friend and I, we were, you know, like the fireworks and you throw them.
You did.
Well, he just like went to throw it one time, and it literally blew up like right here by his hand, and it did some damage.
So since we're on the topic of fireworks,
Yeah.
remember that one time? It was like 2 years ago, New Year's, with the gas bar and fireworks.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta tell this story because this is too funny. Every year for the past like 3 years now,
Yeah.
Kyle and Gaspar have been coming over to my fiance's ranch house where we
Yeah.
blow up fireworks, have a good time. We have good like with family and everything. About 2 years ago, this was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, me, Kyle, and Gaspar we have like a bunch of fireworks. Her entire family bought a lot of fireworks, but me and Gaspar and Kyle were given like a pile of fireworks. Just go, hey, these are tiny. We bought these for like $20 and we got like 100 of them. Go crazy.
Yeah.
The main event's gonna happen like at midnight. So we're like, okay, we got like 2 hours to blow. We got like 100 fireworks, and the little tiny ones, like the small little rocket ones, or the little spinners.
Like, the ones that that spin up.
The little green spinners that spin up, like they go.
Yeah.
They're cool, right?
Yeah.
So for like an hour, me, Kyle, and Gaspar are just chunking fireworks at each other, throwing them at the ground around each other, and spinning them off. Well, we get to Gaspar. Me and Kyle are on a roll. We're so good at fireworks at this point, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we're boss.
It should also be known that we were like in our, you know, mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
This isn't something.
This isn't, we weren't kids.
Yeah, you can tell nothing's changed.
The El Paso story, that was like 16 years ago. This
Yeah.
new story I'm about to tell, this is like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like we look the same as we did 2 years ago. We act the same as we did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I guess I still act the same as I did when I was 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that much hasn't changed. But no, so back to Gaspar. I light a spinner that goes and it spins off. Awesome. Great. Kyle sends his off. Great. Nothing happens. Gaspar approaches the plate, lights his spinner,
Yeah.
and it lights and then it stops. And the fuse goes out. Nothing happens. We wait there for about 10 seconds like responsible people with fireworks.
Yeah.
Responsible people who are drinking beer with fireworks.
Yeah.
And we wait 10 seconds. Nothing happens. So we all look at it. Gaspar goes, oh, I guess I got a bad one. This is like, we waited a good 10 seconds.
Yeah, we waited enough time to make sure to be like, okay, this is a dud.
Yeah, this is done.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Gaspar grabs a new one and approaches to where he had his old one. And as he's walking towards it, he bends over to grab that one. And as he's bending over right above it, it launches. Like the dud goes off.
Yeah.
And it like when it goes off, he's above it enough to where the firework hits him in the chest
Yeah.
and starts spinning around on his chest.
Yeah.
And like he gets up and he's trying to run, but
Trying
the
to back-
pressure of the firework, since it goes,
Yeah, it's
was
like staying on.
pressuring into his chest, and it's spinning on his chest. And Gaspar just goes like, "Oh shit!" He just starts going like crazy and running around like for like 10 seconds while it's still going off because he can't get it off because the fuse is going
Yeah,
off.
it just got
So he
stuck there.
can't use his hand to get it because if he gets it off with his hand, the fuse would burn him.
Yeah.
But he can't like take it off because it's stuck to his shirt because it starts melting into his shirt.
Yeah.
And so maybe 10 seconds in, it finally stops going off and it falls off his chest. Like it wasn't stuck to him. It was just like the pressure of it being propelled was keeping it to his chest.
Yeah.
And then the fuse goes off and it falls down. But right where it was, there's a big, not big, it was like maybe like a centimeter, 2 centimeters hole
Yeah.
on his shirt.
Yeah.
And he got a burnt mark
Yeah.
on
I know.
his chest.
It should be known too that shirt that he wore it was one that he got. I think was it a marathon or something
so
that he ran
Gaspar
in?
trained like a year for, I don't know if it was a year, but
Yeah, yeah. He
Gaspar
trained for a while.
he's been talking about doing a marathon for a while. So like
Yeah,
he trained for a marathon for a while and he did the marathon and he got this shirt.
yeah,
And the shirt, he was so proud of the shirt.
yeah.
Like, I'll post a picture on the thingy of his shirt of him
Yeah.
finishing the race. But like he was so proud of this shirt. He was so happy. And like
Well,
what's it called? It was ruined. It was absolutely the shirt was it had
well,
smudges around it and it had a hole.
yeah, like him and I had been living together at the time.
Yeah.
And he told me that like he talked about the shirt all the time. And even the day of, he was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna wear like my marathon shirt. And so he was
I
like
saw
really
him
excited
get the
about
shirt.
it.
That moment getting the shirt. And
And, like tears are going down his
tears
face.
are running down his face.
Yeah.
And he's so happy. I run over to him, find him, and his family find him too. So it's me and his family. And like, guys, look at what shirt I got. Like, I got a shirt. But he just ran 30 miles and all he cares about is this shirt.
Yeah.
And he's so happy. Oh, man.
But did you want to go ahead and jump into the Reddit stories?
Here's one more story from El Paso that's so funny. And this is the story that we got in the most trouble ever. I've never gotten in more trouble in my entire life ever. Like, this was like family breaking up consequences. Like, my mom was yelling. My grandma was yelling. Like, my uncle was in so much trouble. I was in so much trouble. All these stories that I tell you from El Paso, I'm never scared of actually getting in trouble.
Yeah.
This story, this is the time me and Georgie's got in trouble for letting me drive like at 2 or 3 in the morning. And I was 14. I should not have been driving. He was like 16 or 17, so he had just gotten his license.
Yeah, I don't know why you were driving then.
I shouldn't have been driving. I wasn't the wrong. I got in trouble for it. So I don't know why. There's been twice in my life that I've gotten in trouble for driving because I don't know why I loved the idea of driving. That freedom was just awesome to me.
Yeah.
Like being able to go anywhere. That just seemed so awesome to me. So any chance I got to convince anybody to let me drive, I would take it. And you know I'm really good at convincing people.
Yeah, manipulative.
I'm really manipulative at some points.
Yeah.
So I was 14. My uncle's like 16, 17. He just got his license. He has a nice silver truck, Nissan Titan. Real nice.
Yeah.
And me, Georgie's, and Eric. It's always me, Georgie's, and Eric. That's like the trifecta of getting in trouble.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Anyway, so the three of us were bored, like always, like 2 in the morning-ish, 1, 2 in the morning. And we're like, let's go to Walmart and just walk around. Maybe buy some like water balloons, do some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And so we drive to Walmart. On the way back, I'm like, yo, let me drive. He's like, nah, we'll get in trouble. Like, let me drive. No one's going to know. No one's going to see us. It's 2 in the morning. There's no one on the road.
Yeah.
Let me drive. He's like, nah, let me drive. Nah, we're driving home. Like, just pull over. Let me drive.
Maybe you're not manipulative, but like just consistent.
Annoying. Yeah, I'm consistent. Remember, consistent is key.
Or persistent.
Yeah.
Persistent.
I'm persistent. Anyway, so I'm not. This is like we're like maybe 10 minutes away from home at this point. I'm like, hey, pull over. Let me drive. Come on. And he's like, no. And I go, just let me drive down the street, just one street.
Yeah.
And he's like, fine, just one street, and that's it.
You take off.
And remember, there's no cars out here.
Did you want to go ahead and jump into the Reddit stories?
Here, we're in a neighborhood. It's like I don't know. It's past midnight.
Yeah.
And we're not like in the neighborhood of our like my grandparents' house. Like we're not close to home, but we're like 10 minutes away, and we're in a random neighborhood.
Okay.
So I'm like, we're not gonna get caught. No one's gonna know anything. We're fine. He goes, fine. We switch out. I drive 1 block. Not even like it's no longer than 30 seconds of me driving.
Yeah.
Let me put this into perspective. I'm driving. I drive a block. I stop at the intersection.
Yeah, like stop signs.
Stop signs, yeah. Intersection of stop signs.
Yeah.
2 in the morning, nowhere near home. We just got done with Walmart. As we stop at the intersection, another car passes by so we're going down one way and to our right, perpendicular to us.
Yeah.
So we're going straight. A car comes from perpendicular to our right of us. So we're going straight. They're coming from the right side.
Yeah.
They're turning into our street. So they're turning left into us.
Okay.
I'm at the stop sign. 2 in the morning, nowhere near home. Car pulls up to the stop sign. Car's about to go. Frozen. Me and Georgie's. It was my mom and my grandma.
Oh, no.
Everything stopped.
Like they just stopped their car?
No. They didn't stop. They were passing us.
Yeah.
We saw them the same time they saw us.
Oh, no.
And me and Georgie's, I'm with the steering wheel. Georgie's in the passenger seat. And we're like, I wasn't even driving longer than like 15, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Not even like that long. And they pass us. And like you can see it in their face, realizing what's
the
going
anger,
on.
like
You saw like every range of emotion go through their face, going like shock, surprise, anger, sadness, disappointment, anger again. And like those 10 seconds of like them passing. It was like 2 seconds of them passing us, but
Yeah.
it felt like forever. Because we all made eye contact. I made eye contact with my mom, and my uncle made contact with his mom, which is my grandma.
Yeah.
And so George's is my mom's brother. So like they're siblings, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, they pull to us, they go around us, they're next to us now.
Like they pull up beside you?
Well, like they're like they stop like where we're at, right? Yeah. On the road. That should have been the end of it. That should have been the end of this story.
Did you panic? You panicked.
I panicked. Do you know what I did?
Just floor it.
Floored it. I floored it. I bolted. I took off. I pressed the gas, and like we can't get in trouble. They can't catch us. I just floored it down the street like a maniac.
Georgie's just like, what are you?
I don't know what I was thinking. I just floored it, and we're driving, and I drive like 2 streets.
Yeah.
And like I pull over because Georgie's like, pull over.
Yeah.
we pull over. Me and Georgie's swap seats. So Georgie's driving, and we take off home. We don't even go back to find my mom and grandma. They're calling us. We're not answering any phones. We just take off home. We are so scared. We are beyond terrified. We get home, and we just wait in the living room. My grandpa, my dad, my uncle, they're all watching TV. And my uncle. And my other aunt. There was like everyone was at home. And so we just sat there. Everyone's like, hey, what's up? The 3 of us are just quiet.
Yeah.
We're not even saying a word. We're just like, we say hi, like, hey, we're just sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
For like what felt eternity. My grandma and mom walk in yelling like crazy. We didn't pre-warn my grandpa or my dad of the situation. We're just waiting. So they coming absolutely yelling. My mom's trying to throw hands with my uncle because they're siblings. She's pissed.
Yeah.
She's trying to throw hands with my uncle. And like my uncle's just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh dude, I'm gonna get in so much trouble.
Just like that hopeless feeling.
And so we're like so scared. We're quiet. My uncle Georges is like yelling, I'm sorry, Grace, because my mom's name's Grace.
Yeah.
And my mom's just yelling like crazy at my uncle and at me. My grandma's just yelling at my uncle because like, how could you be so irresponsible? She's yelling like crazy. My grandpa and my dad are like caught off guard. What's going on? And like they're trying to back them up, like, hey, what's going on? Calm down. And like, they say, no one can get any words out because my mom and grandma are just hysterically yelling at us because they were so pissed, rightfully so.
Yeah, I
shouldn't have been driving
or panic drive.
I just took that. I could have stopped there and gone like, hey, I tried driving for like 10 seconds. This was my fault. Nah, I just took off.
Yeah.
And like I remember so much because then my dad and my grandpa started getting mad because they didn't know the situation.
Yeah.
So they started yelling back, and it was just so much arguing for like an hour. Like my mom, we were in El Paso. My mom was like, "We need to go now. We're leaving. We're going back to Fort Worth." Like at that moment, it was just like, "Pack your things. We're leaving. We're never coming back again." Kind of thing.
Dang.
Yeah, you're dead to me kind of thing. My uncle. Obviously, they're in good terms now. We just had a party like 2 days ago, so we're good. Yeah. Everyone's good. But like, it was so funny. Not in the moment.
Whenever they called you guys, you should have just been like, "Oh, we're at home. What are you talking about?" Like,
we
just
didn't try lying more than we already had. You know, we knew we were in trouble. They saw us. There was no question. It was just the waiting game. There was no, like it was like obvious who it was, and we knew them. And like it's funny because me and Georgie's are in the front of the truck, driving and like going hysterical, and Eric's just in the back of the car, just like. just quiet. He's always the witness. He's always just quietly
The
witnessing.
bystander
He's
that
just
just
the bystander.
it gets to experience everything.
Eric didn't get in any trouble because he was just in the back, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, but he was also probably pretty young too, right?
Yeah, he was like, I think 8.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's always George is 2 or 3 years older than me, and I'm always 5 years older than Eric. So it's always like if he's 16,
Yeah.
I'm like 14 or 15. That means Eric's 9 or 10
Okay. Yeah.
or 8, whichever one, you know?
Yeah.
So that's always the ratio between the three of us. It's engraved in my head, just holding the steering wheel, seeing my grandma going. It's engraved in my head, seeing their faces. I'm like, we're gonna have to have a podcast where George is recounting all the stories that I've said from his perspective.
Yeah.
It'll just be hilarious.
Yeah. Definitely, we need to have him on here.
So basically, heard the story of me getting in a lot of trouble for driving as a teenager when I shouldn't have been, and it was obviously my fault.
Yeah.
Almost broke up the family because we wanted to be dumb.
Kids.
I know, but now I'm about to tell you a Reddit story that's actually really embarrassing.
Okay.
And I would hate to be on this end.
Right,
So,
cool.
title of the story is "Don't Assume It's Your Coworker Outside the Bathroom Door When the Store is Empty."
Okay.
So, first off, my coworkers and I are very close and very open about almost anything. One of these things being announcing when we're in the restroom and saying what number we're doing.
Yeah.
On this particular day, the store was very, very slow. No customers were in the store. So when I went to the bathroom, I heard someone coming. It sounded just like my coworker's shoes because she walks loud and clunky. And they were talking and it sounded just like her. So the moment they knocked, I immediately assumed it was my coworker. So like an idiot, I shouted in my idiotic, dumb, playful voice, "I'm pooping, Becky!" Real loud, real loud. There was an immediate silence.
Yeah.
And it was in the moment that I realized I had yelled at a customer. I heard them speak for a few seconds after that, and they faded out super fast. I assumed they were obviously startled, and I decided to go sit in they decided to go sit in the cafe to wait for the bathroom to become available. I stayed in there for almost 4 minutes, listening against the door to figure out if they were in the cafe sitting. I was in my work uniform, so they'd know I was an employee, and that would have been extremely embarrassing and not a good review to get.
Yeah, you just see like there, like the customers are sitting out there. You see like a little like mirror slide underneath the door and like trying to like angle it.
Man, I can just picture me yelling, "Kyle, I'm pooping," and it not be you.
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like I wouldn't care though. I feel like it's just like, whatever.
No, I don't know. No, probably not.
I have no shame, man. I'll just go out there and like, yeah, that was me. What about it? So, back to the story about ROP being stuck in the bathroom. So I waited and waited until finally I knew I had to go. So I opened the door slightly, peeked, didn't see anyone in my line of vision, and I bolted. I got to the back and immediately told Becky what I had done, and she goes, "Well, now that makes sense." 2 ladies went around the corner to use the restroom, and seconds later I saw them rushing out. She literally scared the customers away. Yep, that's because I yelled like a psycho that I was pooping.
That's hilarious,
Man.
That I feel like that would happen to me for sure. There was there's actually kind of a similar thing. I'm not going to tell the story, but it was like a similar bathroom setup to where it was only like there was like one stall and a urinal inside this little room of where I used to work. It was a little grocery store, and definitely a lot of things.
Are you a shy pooper, Kyle?
It really depends on how bad I need to go. Like there have been like, sometimes it's just going to be loud and you just got to own it, be confident. And if somebody makes a comment, just like be proud of it,
Be proud of your poops.
Yeah. Be proud of like anything that comes out of there.
I don't think I'd be embarrassed. Kyle, how about you? How would you feel?
I'd probably feel embarrassed, but I think what it is it's as much of an issue as you make it out to be.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So if I just kind of acted like it didn't bother me, it'd probably be fine. But I'm more of like a shy type of person, so it would be really hard for me to.
I think that's why I feel like I have no shame with a lot of things. There have been moments where I have had shame, but most of the time I have no shame.
It's probably like extreme shame.
It's because I feel like I've done so many dumb things that I've like
okay, I'm used to
purged
this.
all my shame already. You know?
Yeah, I actually have a story right now too. That's also another gassy story.
All right, go on, Kyle.
So this guy, he was at an NFL game, and he had, I guess, something he ate earlier that day, like really wrecked his stomach. Definitely had those like just like a day ago.
We get those. I get it.
Yeah. And he said like it's like the kind of gassiness that clears a room.
Oh man.
So it's like even if it's like a small fart, it's gonna just you smell it immediately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he was walking up the stairs like in the game, like in I guess like in the crowd.
Oh, about like the bleachers.
Yeah, by the bleachers. And he said right then the crowd cheered. I guess somebody had scored, and
Perfect
so he's
time to
like
let
the
it go.
perfect time to fart. And so he just like let it rip. And what he didn't realize is that I guess like since everybody was standing up, there was a lady that had stood up that was next to him, and he was on the stairs. She was in her seat, and whenever he let her rip, his butt was right beside her ear.
Was it facing your direction?
Yeah, yeah, his butt was facing because whenever he turned around, they made eye contact. There was just like a look of disgust on her face, and and then so he just like he said that they made eye contact. He saw like the look of disgust on her face, and then turned right back around and just like ran up the stairs to go to the bathroom. The reason why I tell this story is because it leads me to another story that I experienced myself. But so I think it was the summer between my 12th grade year and my first year of college. And there's this thing that you have to take before you apply for classes where you try to enroll, you have to take a compass test. So I was in there taking the compass exam, right? I was the only one in the room. And
God, you're the only one that's dumb. I'm just kidding. I'm
no,
kidding.
you schedule these exams, okay? Screw you.
You heard it here first, ladies. Kyle is dumb. Kyle is dumb.
So I was halfway through the exam and I started getting really gassy and I get stress farts, it just kind of happens. And so I'm the entire time through the exam, like the rest of the exam, I'm just kind of like, I lean over and kind of let it out because I don't want to make a loud sound. And they're really, really stinky. And I'm like, okay, like, and whenever I finished the exam, it gives you the score right away. And it said that I did well enough to where I didn't have to do anything and I felt great. So I stood up and I turned around and there's literally a girl, the only other person in that room sitting right behind me. And like the same distance that you and I, like our backs were just turned to each other.
Wait, your backs, or was she like facing you?
No, she wasn't facing me. Like our backs are turned to each other, but we're the same distance as you and I are. And so the entire, like, I was just like, oh God, like,
How
because
did you not know she was there?
because you have headphones on.
Oh,
Yeah, I should have mentioned that, but yeah, like they're almost like noise canceling headphones. I think it was because the exam would read off some questions.
Oh,
to
you were doing it on a computer?
Yeah, I was doing it on a computer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. I should have started off with that, but it wasn't like a written exam. It was
okay.
just, yeah, you're on a computer like going through multiple choice questions. And so yeah, I stood up and I saw her and I'm like, she's been smelling this fart for like like literally I was farting every like minute. So
for an hour and a half every minute?
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, those anxiety farts or whatever they are
you need
pretty
to go to a doctor.
Man, I don't know what it is.
Did you guys make eye contact?
No, thank God. I turned around and I just saw her. I was like, and I just took off. All right, that wraps up our podcast where we told some funny, embarrassing stories. We told some gassy stories. If you want to send in your stories for us to read off, that would be really great.
You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd love to hear your stories. Please send them in. You can reach us any kind of way, and we'll be happy to read them. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.